Thank you very much. Good evening to you and welcome to the program. We'll start with a major investigation into a childcare scheme which is costing taxpayers millions. It's a family daycare program where carers look after children in their own homes and receive substantial government financial support. Some make up to $4,000 a fortnight. While carers are required to complete training and written tests, many are illiterate, their homes are often substandard and they even swap each other's children and still claim the benefit. However, the company which recruits and organises these often desperate people is making a killing, as Hendrik Gout discovered.
And this shirt is going to go on your face. Why do you have to come record and put on yourself? Is that the only things you have to do? Can you call the police, please?
In our work at this company, we were discovering phantom children and serious cases of child swapping.
All white people are racist, you dogs.
This is FARAH4KIDS. It's a multi-million-dollar operation. It operates largely with your money. And, according to an insider, its employees' childcare practices smell like a nappy that needs changing.
One child used a toy knife to play Slice My Neck, and the educator didn't even seem remotely fussed. There's no fire extinguisher, there's no fire blankets, there's no clips on kitchen cupboards or drawers. There's no covers for electrical outlets. There's no insurance and there's no police checks for visitors.
Family daycare is, in principle, a great system. Companies employ so-called educators to look after kids in their own home or in the kids' home, or maybe even a friend's home. Taxpayers subsidise the parents' expenses and subsidises the educator's wages. But it's wide open to abuse. So you pay for somebody else to look after your children while you look after other people's children that you get paid for?
Yes.
Joseph Nesdai is an educator with FARAH4KIDS. He says he takes in 5 children a day before school and after school. Because you rely on this for your income, don't you?
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
It's your only job, isn't it?
This is my only job and my first job since I came to Australia.
But Joseph and his wife Violet, also an educator with FARAH4KIDS, have 5 children themselves. So what do Joseph and Violet do with their own children while they mind other people's for profit? Well, they send them off to another educator. So the government is paying for your children to be looked after, and it's paying for you to look after other people's children. Wouldn't it be better if you all looked after your own children and no one had to get paid? But, says Joseph with impeccable logic, that would put him out of a job. So everybody who looks after this in this group, that's their only job?
Yeah, this is known as self-employed job.
I also noticed many child swap situations.
A senior company insider has agreed to expose what she says are not necessarily illegal abuses at FARAH4KIDS and its family daycare. To protect her identity, her words are spoken by another person.
This is rorting the system and it makes taxpayers foot the bill.
According to inspector reports, this is where Ashia Cromar does family daycare for FARAH4KIDS. It's non-compliant, and the inspection also complained about the odour. Should the kids want to play in the backyard, this would be their playground. From this flat, Cromar is paid up to $4,220 a fortnight for looking after 4 Abdullahi children, while another FARAH4KIDS educator, Fadorso Abdullahi, is paid to look after 5 different children. A third carer, Nagris Amadi, is paid to look after 4 Amadi children.
Some educators were claiming to be looking after other people's children when in reality they were just looking after their own. One employee who worked full-time in the office was claiming to have 7 children in his care 50 hours a week.
When will your mother be home?
Later.
What time later?
3:30.
Right, and what time did the children arrive to be looked after?
The ones that she looks after,
Yes.
around about the same time as well.
This is the home of Ayuk Akol, and this is her cousin with the kids in her car. She is warned not to get out of the car.
Why you guys taking pictures?
We're taking pictures because we're from Channel 7 and we're doing a story.
On what?
On childcare. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're dropping your children off here?
No, no, no.
Does your cousin ever look after your children?
No, no.
White piece of shit.
At the Abdullahi residence, where we were made to feel less than welcome, the inspector said a cockroach infestation in part of the house was so bad they were running around the table and on the files. Asked how many children were looked after here, the carer professed not to know. You can't count the children?
I do not know how to count.
I think you may not be telling me the truth. In fact, getting to the truth was sometimes harder than being beaten around the bush. This is a public car park outside FARAH4KIDS in Athol Park.
When I began doing home inspections, I noticed that a lot of educators weren't actually home, or they wouldn't permit entry, or they didn't have any children actually in their care, or didn't actually live at the specified address.
You are Mohammed?
Yes.
I'm from Channel 7. My name is Hendrik Gout. May we speak to you, please?
What about?
About childcare. I understand you do childcare from this house. Is that right?
No, nobody at home right now.
Oh, nobody at home?
Yes.
It seemed somebody answered the door. I had the impression someone answered the door.
I was constantly given excuses such as my son's broken his arm, I'm in hospital, or my uncle's died. And one educator answered the door naked, except for a towel that seemed constantly to be slipping down.
Joseph's kids' room is neat and clean, and he's proud of it. This is far from universal in homes administered by FARAH4KIDS.
Properties were almost all in extremely bad repair, with, dirty walls, holes in the walls, dangerous tools lying around, and chemicals that were actually within easy reach of the children.
The inspector said that at Ajuk Deng's home, there was a fire pot in the backyard on which he was cooking, with children playing around. Incidentally, whose kids? This document shows that Ms. Deng is paid to look after 2 Deng children, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, and 12 hours on Saturday. And at Chantel Roberts' home in Salisbury North,
one infant was sucking on an iPhone charger that was actually switched on at the wall.
Joseph, at least, has mandatory safety equipment for first aid and fire protection. External power points are behind locks, and his police clearance is on display.
You can't work with the children with having this clearance.
By law, all adults who come into contact with kids in family daycare need a police check. But Joseph appears to be an exception.
There were very few Certificate 3 in children's services and police clearances, working with child checks, and only a handful of first aid certificates.
And it's through FARAH4KIDS that you also got your other certificates for childcare work.
Let me read it for
Yes, okay.
Yes, on this year I received my certificate 3 in that organisation.
And that's done through what organisation is this? The Early Childhood Vision Training Service issued the certificate. This is Mervat Zerba.
Correct.
Mervat Zerba runs the Early Childhood Vision Training Service. Joseph didn't know where it was registered, but we did. 722 North East Road, Holden Hill. Dozens and dozens of dodgy certificates came from here.
That college has been stopped.
It's been stopped?
Yeah.
So she's no longer issuing any certificates?
No.
Last week, Chris Robinson, Chief Commissioner for the Commonwealth Authority which monitors training organisations, gave evidence at the Senate Estimates Committee. It's emerged that the authority suspended the Early Childhood Vision Training Services registration last year. FARAH4KIDS, however, has set up its own entity to issue certificates, the Golden Farah Training Institute.
With all new organisations, we go and audit them 12 months later, and we've got an audit scheduled to be carried out with that organisation very soon.
I noticed a really strange atmosphere at work. People were working really hard on jobs that I knew nothing about. So when I asked what the problem was, I was told that they were being audited, and I was asked to get together a list of educators who needed first aid, anaphylaxis and safe environment certificates.
Today Tonight has discovered that the Golden Farah Training Institute is setting up nationally, with particular emphasis on the Sudanese community in Brisbane. Some people already issued certificates are practically illiterate in English.
You would expect someone to have functional literacy in the English language to be able to meet the requirements.
I observed someone printing out fake certificates and signing them, and I told her that this was dangerous and it was illegal, and she told me to turn away. A few weeks later she had me going through the files again, but this time I had to write down all the names of the educators who weren't certified, all of them. Again, you know, I witnessed her printing off fake certificates and signing them. And again, I told her it was wrong.
FARAH4KIDS declined to speak with Today Tonight and would not answer questions about children at possible risk or the allegations we had received of rorts or illegal practices. It denies there is any problem.
I'm aware that this company is receiving in excess of $300,000 per fortnight from Centrelink to pay educators for not looking after children.
Have you ever heard of FARAH4KIDS?
No, I didn't have.
You don't know me, man. You useless, stupid.
My concern, amongst others, is that these children are in dangerous situations. It's an unhealthy environment and there's dangerous items within their reach. These educators are not competent. They're not literate and they're not trained in childcare, yet they're being issued Certificate 3 diplomas in childcare, and they're earning between $2,000 and $6,000 a fortnight.
Yeah, keep walking, you old wrinkly